European competitions are in full swing, and there's a double game week on the horizon. How are we going to navigate all this in FPL? Let's find out. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Backup Fantasy Sports. It is Thursday, April 11th. My name is Ewan. And on today's episode, we're going to get into some Fantasy Premier League with a Game Week 33 preview. European action is still ongoing as of right now. The Champions League ties have been completed, but there is Europa League and Europa Conference League action to go tonight. So we will not know any of the status of those players coming out of that game as soon as when this video is getting published. But as for Man City and Arsenal in the Champions League, they are definitely balanced in a tie with Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. I don't think there's any big injury concerns there. Phil Foden did come off, but he was seen kind of smiling on Man City's Twitter account yesterday. So hopefully all is well. We will await for the press conference news heading into Game Week 33, which looks like this. We have some Monday Night Football. We have a Saturday lunchtime game, 3 fixtures on Sunday. Newcastle Spurs kick us off, followed by the Saturday 3 o'clock slate. These are all UK time. Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley, Brighton, Man City, Luton, Nottingham Forest, Wolves, and then Bournemouth, Man United is the Saturday night game. Liverpool, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Fulham, Arsenal, Aston Villa are on Sunday, and then Chelsea, Everton is the Monday night game. So plenty of football to watch this weekend. Should be a fun slate of games. Plenty of options at captain. So going to get into that a little bit later as well. If you can't watch the whole episode, just check out the timestamps in the description below. They should help you navigate the episode. And while you're down there, just like and subscribe to the channel. We'd greatly appreciate any support. Game Week 32 went okay. I was on a red arrow of about 400 places. So pretty much a gray arrow, I think, is what most people would call that. If I had captained Holland instead of Salah, it would have been maybe a small green arrow, but yeah, it was not meant to be. But overall, pretty good. Just holding my rank, hoping to get into the top 50K by the end of the season. Just have to navigate this game week with 2 free transfers, and the free hit in game week 34 will be activated. Fixture ticker for the next 5 game weeks. So this is from game week 33 to game week 37. The double game week 37 fixtures were announced yesterday. So let's just check those out real quick. So Brighton, Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Newcastle, and Tottenham will have 2 fixtures in game week 37. As you can see here, they're all listed below. Chelsea with Forest and Brighton away. That's a pretty good one. Man City have Fulham and Tottenham away. Also attackable. Man United with Arsenal and Newcastle at home isn't the best, but I already have Onana and Garnacho, so I will probably be holding them. They have some good fixtures in the run-up to that. Newcastle with Brighton at home, Man United away, and then Spurs with Burnley and Man City at home. So that'll be Spurs' second double game week in 2 weeks, as they have one in game week 35, as we can see right here. So the top 5 teams from now until game week 37 are Man United, Newcastle, Everton, Chelsea, and Man City, while the 5 worst teams are Aston Villa, Fulham, Tottenham, Luton, Nottingham Forest. Tottenham's down here because of their blank in game week 34. So Tottenham does not play game week 34. So if you have Spurs assets and you have a free hit, I would definitely think about using that in game week 34. That way you don't have to get rid of them all that much. Fulham, Aston Villa, tough here. Arsenal, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Brighton, Liverpool. Ollie Watkins burned a lot of his sellers last week. Did not go according to plan, but I think in the long run, you will come out ahead of that decision. So while it did sting, he was a total rank killer for a lot of us on Saturday, whenever he bagged his 2 returns, I believe, now up to 31 returns on the season. Hopefully, in the long run, that will prove to be the correct decision. As for Man United, they've got Bournemouth, Sheffield United, Burnley, and Crystal Palace leading up to that double against Arsenal and Newcastle. That's why they are so tempting in FPL as transfers in right now, because that's a good run up to a tough double. So Bournemouth, Sheffield United, Burnley, Crystal Palace, pretty nice. That's like 4 of the bottom 6 or 7 teams in the league right now. Newcastle, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Sheffield United, Burnley, Brighton, and Man United. So that's not bad either. If you have any Newcastle assets like Alexander Isaac, Lewis Hall has been mentioned in FPL circles this week as well. Everton, a lot of people saying that the ketchup bottle has been, or the top off the ketchup bottle has been taken off for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We're going to look at him in a little bit as well. Everton has Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Liverpool, Brentford, Luton, Sheffield United. So a pretty good run of fixtures for the Toffees as well as they find themselves in another relegation battle. Chelsea here, they're going to be fourth. They will slowly move towards the top of this, I'm assuming, as they get 2 double game weeks with Everton, Arsenal, and then Aston Villa versus Tottenham in game week 35, West Ham in game week 36, and then Brighton and Nottingham Forest in game week 37. And Man City, they are just a wagon. You're going to want to be on their assets. Luton, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, Wolves, and then Fulham and Tottenham in their double game week. There is the confirmation of the fixtures, like I just mentioned, from the FPL X account. Transfer priorities. So it's getting down to it in strategy times. And kind of just there's a lot of different strategies, but these are kind of some of the popular ones I would say that are going around FPL circles. So wildcard 35, bench boost 37. So for the podcast, I would say that there's a table here that says transfer priorities with the strategy and the targets. So if you're wildcard 35, bench boost 37, you're pretty much dead ending into game week 34. So you're just prioritizing people with 2 fixtures in game week 34. That's going to be your Liverpool assets, your Bournemouth assets, your Arsenal assets. And yeah, just kind of get good players in for those Everton assets, Dominic Calvert-Lewin that we're just talking about, Branthwaite, Pickford. If you want to just prioritize your transfers towards game week 34, because you are technically, or you are dead ending into that team. So you can kind of, while Luton at home is a tough fixture, or not a tough fixture, it's a tough fixture to not have any Man City assets for. If you maybe had like a Man City defender, I would possibly get off of them. I know that they should keep a clean sheet 54% according to the bookies this weekend, but Man City always seem to find a way to concede at least 1 goal. So if you're on wildcard 35, bench boost 37, I would concentrate all my transfers over the next 2 weeks on game week 34 doublers. If you are on free hit 34, bench boost 37, or if you're just on free hit 34 in general, I would prioritize Chelsea and Tottenham assets for game week 34 and game week 37 doublers. So if you're using your free hit in 34, you don't need to put any Tottenham assets in your side for the free hit as they don't play, but they will have 2 doubles after game week 34. So they have a double in game week 35, a double in game week 37. That's probably why you want them. And there is a Tottenham asset that I am thinking about getting a little punty on here that I will mention in a couple of slides time. So yeah, it's kind of tough. I know Tottenham's not playing incredible at the moment, but the number of fixtures that they have compared to some of these other teams is just so great that you probably want a piece of that pie. Chelsea as well, 2 doubles after game week 34. It's going to be good. So there, and then if you are on bench week 37, you're going to want to prioritize after game week from 35 to 37. You're going to want to prioritize bringing in doublers for game week 37 as well. Just a heads up, if you are on free hit 34 and you have 1 transfer or 2 transfers like me, you need to use those transfer this week because it will not carry over to game week 35. So even if I only use 1 transfer this week, then free hit in 34, I will only have 1 transfer coming out into game week 35. So essentially I have to use these 2 transfers this week because I rolled last week. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm going to be, I don't have to use the 2 transfers, but if you have them, smoke them if you got them, can't take them with you, that kind of thing. If you have no chips left, I would prioritize getting at least 2 Liverpool and Arsenal guys for game week 34. And hopefully you still have your Tottenham and Chelsea assets. Tottenham should be easier for people as they played in blank game week 29. So you should have them if you did not use your free hit there. And then 37 doubler. So if you have no chips left, you will have a tougher time navigating this compared to the other teams that have a wild card or a free hit or a bench boost. That's going to be tough. You're going to have to probably take some hits. They will pay off, but prioritize 2 Liverpool and 2 Arsenal for 34, 2 Tottenham, and 2 Chelsea for 35, and game week 37 doublers after that. Pretty tough if you have no chips left, can't lie. Hits will probably be fine for you, but if you can think long term, think about this strategically, you can possibly save yourself a 4-point hit every now and then. If you just long term plan, it should pay off in the future. Next slide here is just some candidates going into the back end of the season. Regression is real. So these are some underperformers according to their expected stats. So on here, I've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Brian Mbeumo, Nicholas Jackson, João Pedro, and Timo Werner for Tottenham. That got their non-penalty XGI per 90 and their non-penalty goals plus assists per 90 plus the delta on here. So Calvert-Lewin, this is not in order. This is just some selected guys that I saw in like the top 20, 25 of underperformers for the season per 90. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin is underperforming his expected data by 0.29. Brian Mbeumo 0.17, Nicholas Jackson 0.17, João Pedro 0.16, and Timo Werner 0.14. So Brian Mbeumo is very interesting to me. He's come back into the Brentford side. He was fantastic when he played in the first half of the season before he picked up that injury right before AFCON. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is another option. I just don't. There's so many attackers, so many good attackers in the game right now that Everton, I mean, he scored last weekend, but it was alongside Darwin for the Puskas Award this year, where the goalkeeper just rattled it right off his butt and it went into the back of the net. So a goal is a goal, but it wasn't exactly a clean strike, I would say. Nicholas Jackson is interesting to me as well. Underperformed early in the season, burned a lot of us. Chelsea are so inconsistent week to week, and Jackson still isn't finishing appropriately or as well as he should be for playing in that role. But it is tempting as a punt. 2 double game weeks in 34 and 37. He's underperforming. Chelsea, hard to trust there. Hard to trust. João Pedro is definitely in my thoughts as well. Brighton have a double in game week 37, so I don't really need to go there. Hopefully he can save his regression for the end of the season, but he will be very popular in game week 37, I would think. Possibly game week 36 if you want to bring him in early. And Timo Werner, this is the guy I'm kind of thinking of taking a punt on here in FPL. So 0.63 non-penalty XGI per 90 and 0.77 non-penalty XGI per 90 and then not 0.63 non-penalty goals plus assists per 90. So he's underperforming that by 0.14. He seems to be the first choice over Dejan Kulusevski right now. It does seem like Son, Brendan Johnson, and Werner is the preferred 3 for Tottenham. I'm sure that will change once Richarlison gets healthier again. But really like what I'm seeing from Werner. He's getting in some good spots. His finishing is still a problem. But I have 2 free transfers. I'm not totally sold on Darwin Nunez right now for Liverpool. So there's that as well. While I am having a slight crisis remembering if Werner is a midfielder or a forward in the game. I'm pretty sure he's a forward. Let's just check this out real quick. Yes, he's a forward, 6.3 million. So that would get me a lot of savings for my transfer. But these are just 5 candidates that regression is real, and I would expect them to kind of return to the mean over the last 5-6 game weeks of the season, hopefully meeting up with their expected numbers as we roll along here. Captaincy debate for game week 33. These are the top 4 options according to the rotoballer.com rankings that will be published later today, possibly tomorrow, just to wait for any injury news, any updates in the projection systems coming from there. But Haaland, Salah, Tony, and Kevin De Bruyne are the top 4 options according to those rankings, which you can check out on rotoballer.com along with our roundtable, FPL manual, betting, DFS. Go check it out. All free, all the time. So definitely check that out if you have a couple of minutes. For the fixtures here, Haaland plays Luton, Salah plays Crystal Palace, Ivan Toney has Sheffield United, and KDB also has Luton. Predicted points, 8.15 for Holland, 7.51 for Salah, 6.18 for Tony, and 5.97 for KDB. Non-penalty XGI per 90 over the last 6. Salah leads the pack at 1.25, followed by Holland and De Bruyne. Ivan Toney down here at 0.47, so not the most encouraging underlying numbers and not the most encouraging FPL points. 13 points over his last 6 games compared to 44 for Salah and 31 for Holland and KDB. KDB is on here. I probably didn't have to put him on here. There's not a lot of people that are going to captain KDB over Holland if they have both for some reason. However, if you don't have Holland and you have KDB, probably a pretty good option. He didn't play in midweek against Real Madrid. Apparently, he was feeling unwell during the warmups, so he was a no-go for that game. So he'll probably want to get some. Pep Guardiola will want to get some minutes in his talismanic midfielder there. Hopefully at least 60 minutes. And same for Holland, same for Phil Foden. I think he'll want to keep them in a rhythm, but I wouldn't expect a full 90 from these guys as they do have a tie against Real Madrid on Wednesday to kind of prepare for. You don't want to pick up any nagging injuries. So if it's 3-0 at half, just say you could see these guys coming off at halftime. I think Holland actually did that earlier this year. It was like that's Burnley, if I remember correctly. It was like 3-0 at half, and Holland just came off. So hopefully, if City are up 3-0, that would mean that Holland has scored a couple of them. He hasn't been in tip-top form recently. Salah has scored a penalty last week to tie it up against Man United. But yeah, these kind of top options haven't been kind of flying in the last couple of game weeks. Ivan Toney is tempting, but just the fixture is great against Sheffield United, but you're not really going to captain Ivan Toney over Mo Salah or Erling Haaland. So for me, it's between Haaland and Salah right now. I have the armband on Erling Haaland because it just makes too much sense. I think he's going to start. Pep doesn't really rest Haaland when he's healthy. He doesn't really expend that much energy. So for me, Haaland is getting the armband. Let me know in the comments below what you think of captaincy this game week for game week 33. And here are my kind of thoughts for my own team for game week 33. I've got 2 frees. I'm thinking maybe I'll move off Liverpool assets for a Chelsea Tottenham guy. Newcastle away should be a pretty fun fixture. First thoughts are maybe Darwin out. He's kind of underperformed. I'm waiting to see what the team sheet would be for the game against Atalanta tonight. If Darwin starts, I would think he's not going to play he's not going to start against Crystal Palace, and that would make my decision a little bit easier. So it could possibly be Darwin out there, and then either Aït-Nouri or Connor Bradley, depending on tonight's team sheet as well. If Bradley starts, I would think either Joe Gomez gets the start on the weekend, or Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to make a surprising return and start for Liverpool as well. Reports are that he has been in training, so there could be something there. Bradley's days in the starting 11 could be numbered. I'd like to not transfer out Aït-Nouri, even if he is yellow flagged right now. Hoping he starts, but he's got 2 fixtures in game week 34, which I'll be free hitting in. But then on 35, he also has a good fixture on the other side there as well. So I'd love to kind of, while I did wildcard in the triple Liverpool assets, hasn't totally paid off. They look pretty shaky at the back as well. So kind of getting off of Darwin. I don't think he's going to play the full 90 against Crystal Palace. So kind of bringing in a Timo Werner, who is also not likely to play the full 90, but that can set me up for the double game weeks afterwards. And then upgrading Bradley to, so I'd have 1.4 in the bank. I could possibly stretch it to, like, I could get an Udogie in, I guess. That would be triple Udogie in for Spurs. That'd be triple Spurs. Augusto is not super tempting either, but I just kind of want to build some money up in the bank. I don't have to go too far up, but yeah, this Chris Richards problem that I create for myself, he says it's going to be out through April 29th or 7th. So I need to kind of get some money in the bank so that I can set up my bench boost for game week 37 as well. Definitely not going to go to a Man City defender. Don't let myself go to a Man City defender this weekend. But that is going to do it for the game week 33 preview. What are your thoughts, your concerns ahead of the upcoming game week? Game week 34 for me will probably be heavily featured on the free hit. So let me know if you want me to mention anything else in next week's episode, and I will get around to that when I can. You can follow me on X at UNFPL. I'll be tweeting out a bunch of stuff this weekend, all of our Rotoballer articles, probably following along with all the games. Plenty of important stuff going on in the FPL landscape. But once again, like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you like and you don't like about each episode. And yeah, once again, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next time.